My father, a gambling addict, racked up 800,000 yuan in debt and then gave me away as collateral to a sickly heiress. To pay off the debt, I had to be by her side for 5 years without any boundaries or self respect. That night, after signing the contract, Liu Ruyan's possessiveness, which she had suppressed for years, finally exploded. She imprisoned me in the room and would stomp on my face with her white feet every day. As the days went by, her possessiveness grew stronger and stronger. She wouldn't even allow me to look at other girls. If I dared to disobey her orders, she would shove her smelly feet into my mouth. I waited and waited every day, and finally, the last night of the contract arrived. At 9 p.m., Liu Ruyan pushed open the door. I went to greet her, took her coat, and placed her slippers in front of her. After hanging the coat in the closet, I asked her if she wanted to take a shower or eat first. She looked at her phone and casually replied, "Take a shower first." The clock on the wall turned halfway around, and Liu Ruyan, wearing a bathrobe and drying her hair, walked out of the bathroom. I quickly handed her her pajamas. While she changed, I went to the kitchen and brought out the freshly heated food. Liu Ruyan was already used to all of this. She was in a good mood today, constantly looking at her phone, seemingly chatting with someone. As I set the table, I passed by her and caught a glimpse of her lit-up phone screen. The two words, "An Yi," at the top of the screen caught my eye. I casually looked away and went to the kitchen. Suddenly, my phone rang in my pocket. I saw Liu's mother on the screen. The moment I answered, Liu's mother's voice came from the other end. "Yunchen, are you really going to divorce Ruyan?" I looked out the window, where a cluster of epiphyllum flowers quietly bloomed under the wall lamp. After a long while, I spoke softly. "Auntie, you know, I was only with her because of that contract. Now the contract has expired, and An Yi has also divorced and returned to the country. She came in happy and no longer needed me." On the other end of the line, Mrs. Liu sighed deeply, her voice full of regret. "You've suffered so much these past years. I know all the hardships you've endured. I thought your sacrifices over the years would make her fall in love with you, but never mind, Yin Yi is back now, so I'm not worried about her anymore. You gave up your studies abroad for Ruyan 5 years ago. If you still want to go, I can help you arrange it. My life has stagnated for too long these past 5 years because of Liu Ruyan. It's time to move forward." So I nodded. "Thank you then. Please make the arrangements. I want to leave as soon as possible." After the call ended, the cluster of epiphyllum flowers outside the window quietly withered, just like my 5 year marriage was about to end completely. My family was poor when I was young, and it was the Liu Group that sponsored my continued education, enabling me to succeed academically and even secure the only exchange student spot in the entire school. Therefore, before leaving the country, I specifically came to the Liu family to express my gratitude. I wasn't the only one sponsored by the Liu Group, but I was the first to come and express my thanks. This made Liu's mother, who had initially intended to dismiss me with a few casual words, give me a second look. After hearing my purpose, she remained silent for a while before speaking. "If you really want to repay my kindness, please do me a favor." It was from Liu's mother that I learned the story of Liu Ruyan and An Yi. Liu Ruyan was a privileged young woman, and An Yi was a privileged young man, both born into wealthy families. They were childhood sweethearts growing up together. Everyone could see that Liu Ruyan liked An Yi, but because An Yi said he wanted a slow and steady love, she always silently protected him. Finally, after they graduated from university, Liu Ruyan felt the time was right and prepared to confess her feelings, but An Yi suddenly got a girlfriend and went abroad with her. Unable to believe it, she chased after him to the airport that night, but was involved in a car accident on the way. When she woke up after surgery, An Yi had already had a whirlwind marriage with that person abroad. After that, she stayed at home all day drinking heavily, and this once privileged young woman was tormented beyond recognition. Just then, I approached her, and Liu's mother decided to let me help her move on from this relationship. So, to repay her kindness, I gave up the opportunity to study abroad and signed a 5 year contract with Liu's mother. At a banquet, I deliberately bumped into Liu Ruyan, pretending to fall in love at first sight, and began pursuing her madly. From then on, the whole circle knew that Liu Ruyan had a man who loved her madly. Liu Ruyan gradually got used to my kindness, but never took that step. Until that night, she and some girlfriends made a bet on a cruise ship. Whoever's partner could jump into the sea and find their lost ring would get a piece of land in the north of the city. I knew clearly that she hadn't slept a wink for several nights in her quest for that land. While everyone else hesitated, fearing the huge waves, I jumped into the sea without hesitation. That was the first time Liu Ruyan lost her composure for me. She clung tightly to me as I was pulled from the water, her voice trembling with fear. "Shu Yunchen, let's get married. I'll try to love you." But later I learned that she only agreed to marry me that night because An Yi had posted a picture on his WeChat moments of himself and his wife passionately kissing under the aurora borealis. Even so, to fulfill that promise and remove An Yi from her heart, I still tried my best to be good to Liu Ruyan. Learning that her childhood birthday wish was to see shooting stars, but her parents were too busy with work to take her, I spent 6 months searching for the best mountaintop for observing them. But that night I waited all night and Liu Ruyan didn't appear. Later I learned that she had gone to see An Yi. By then, An Yi's marriage was already experiencing problems, and from that day on, he would travel abroad every week. Each time, he would prepare all sorts of novel and interesting gifts, delivering them to An Yi's doorstep to please her, but never letting me know. On the day An Yi returned to China, in order to see her at first sight, he sped and got into a car accident. That night, I stayed by his side for 3 days and 3 nights without sleep. He was unconscious, yet he called An Yi's name 999 times from his hospital bed. At that moment, I finally understood the task Liu's mother had given me. I could never fulfill it. Fortunately, the contract expired, and An Yi divorced and returned to China. Liu Ruyan got her wish and found her sweetheart. It was time for me to leave. From now on, we could both start new lives. Who are you talking to on the phone? Seeing that I hadn't come out for a long time, Liu Ruyan got up and came to the kitchen to find me, only to find her standing there staring blankly at her phone. I snapped out of my reverie and calmly replied, "Nobody, it's late at night." Listening to Liu Ruyan's soft breathing beside me, I stared at the ceiling, unable to sleep all night. The next morning, looking at the Western food in front of me, Liu Ruyan frowned. "You know I don't like Western food. Why are you eating this today?" I lowered my head, picked up a piece of steak with my fork, and slowly chewed it. That was all that was left in the refrigerator. Actually, no, I was just preparing for studying abroad, so I thought I'd get used to the local flavors beforehand. Fortunately, the woman opposite me didn't think much of it. She placed her phone on the table, her eyes constantly scanning it, seemingly waiting for a message from An Yi. Suddenly, her phone vibrated, and she immediately picked it up. An Yi seemed to have sent something that made her very happy. Even her usually cold lips curled into a slight smile. I quietly looked at her for a moment before taking out the divorce papers I had prepared beforehand. "Liu Ruyan, let's get a divorce." Liu Ruyan was completely absorbed in her conversation with An Yi, probably not even hearing what I said, and simply replied perfunctorily, "Okay." I wasn't surprised at all, because for the past 5 years, she had treated me this way, aloof and distant. From the moment I signed the contract, I had been preparing for this moment. Now, I was finally free. Now that An Yi was back in the country, she had even withdrawn the last bit of attention she had for me. I flipped to the last page of the agreement, handed it to her along with the pen, and pointed to the signature area, "Sign here." She was busy chatting and didn't even look at it. She picked up the pen with one hand and signed her name where I pointed while continuing to type on her phone with the other. I put the agreement away and continued, "Liu Ruyan, after the 1 month cooling off period, I'll leave." Liu Ruyan hummed in agreement, then put down her knife and fork and got up to leave. Watching her retreating figure, I finally couldn't help but call out to her, "Liu Ruyan, do you know what I just said?" She stopped and turned back to look at me, puzzled. "Isn't it just about delivering supplies to the orphanage? Wasn't the contract you just made me sign the one you mentioned a few days ago? What's wrong?" I smiled inwardly. The contract for the supplies had already been signed with her last month. She really didn't care about me, and she really hadn't heard me, but it didn't matter anymore. "That's it, Liu Ruyan. That's it. Be happy with An Yi from now on." That afternoon, I drove to the orphanage, following the delivery truck. After finishing my work, I went to the director's office to say goodbye. "Director, I'm going abroad for further studies." The director was very happy for me. "Yunchen, that's wonderful." But then, as if remembering something, her face fell. "But if you go abroad for further studies, won't you and Ruyan be separated? Long-distance relationships are very difficult." I looked at the children playing and running in the distance and shook my head. "It's not about being separated. We're divorced." The director was taken aback for a moment, then sighed deeply. "I knew I was right. Your marriage wouldn't last long. If she really loved you, why hasn't she come back to visit you all these years? It's good that we're divorced." I smiled and replied to the director, "Yes, it's good that we're divorced." After returning from the orphanage, I went straight upstairs and into the dressing room to pack my luggage. It was only then that I realized I had very few clothes, just the clothes that Liu's mother gave me when we first got married. My wife, whom I've been married to for 5 years, has never thought to buy me a single piece of clothing. After packing up the clothes, I sold all the gifts I'd given Liu Ruyan over the years to the scrap dealers. Over the years, to please her, I'd carefully prepared many birthday gifts for her, but she'd never even glanced at them. These gifts were all thrown aside, covered in a thick layer of dust. Watching the scrap truck drive away, I was about to return to the villa when I heard a horn blare behind me. Turning around, I saw a Maybach parked in front of me, and a woman in a red dress got out. It was my sister-in-law, Liu Yao. Liu Yao snorted coldly at the departing scrap truck, then turned and sized me up. Just as I thought, someone from a poor family, even selling cardboard boxes. I didn't even look at her, turning to leave. Liu Yao's mocking expression vanished abruptly, and she lunged forward to grab me. Yunchen. Ever since I entered the Liu family, I'd been humbly trying to please them, never showing them such coldness before. Now that I dared to treat her like this, a surge of anger instantly rose in Liu Yao's chest. Are you deaf? Didn't you hear me talking to you? I turned and pulled her hand away, a flash of annoyance in my eyes. Liu Yao had always disliked me, feeling that someone of my status was completely unworthy of entering the Liu family. So for the past 5 years of our marriage, she had been targeting me. She'd either throw away the breakfast I made or step on the clothes I washed. Now that I was finally free, I didn't want to humbly please her anymore. Liu Yao was about to continue her outburst, but then, as if remembering something, she gave me a laugh. Someone like you would be better off selling cardboard boxes. You don't know, do you? My sister's white moonlight is back, and you, the man who usurped her place, are finally going to get out. As soon as she finished speaking, a man in a white shirt stepped down from behind her. This was the first time I'd ever seen An Yi. 5 years of a broken marriage left no mark on me. No wonder Liu Ruyan couldn't forget him for so many years. Hearing this, An Yi came over and took Liu Yao's hand, his tone very gentle. Yao Yao, don't talk about Mr. Xu like that. He's your brother-in-law. What brother-in-law? Brother An Yi. I already told you in the car. My sister has always liked you, and she's never forgotten you all these years, going abroad to see you every week. Those gifts were all bought by my sister. Can't you see how much she loves you? After saying that, she ordered me. What are you standing there for? Hurry up and take Brother An Yi's luggage inside. My sister has agreed that Brother An Yi can stay here. I glanced at the luggage, ignored it, and went straight in. Liu Yao stomped her feet angrily behind me, and in the end, the driver carried the luggage in. As Liu Yao was about to continue her angry tirade, Liu Rian walked in hurriedly from outside. After her gaze fell on An Yi, who was sitting comfortably on the sofa, she seemed to breathe a sigh of relief before speaking to me. An Yi's house has been uninhabited for many years and needs renovation, so he'll be staying with us for a few days. I didn't speak, and there was a moment of silence. An Yi stood up, looking aggrieved and uneasy. Ruyan, should I leave? This is, after all, your marital home, and Mr. Xu seems a little unhappy. Liu Ruyan immediately reached out to stop him. No need to leave. He's always been magnanimous and won't get angry over such a small matter. I watched this scene silently, but still spoke up, a smile playing on my lips. I certainly won't get angry over such a small matter, Mr. An. Please stay here. After all, this home will belong to An Yi sooner or later. As if afraid that An Yi might still leave, Liu Ruyan immediately instructed the servants to move her luggage into the largest guest room. Liu Yao immediately turned to me triumphantly. What are you still standing here for at this hour? Go make dinner. Oh, and An Yi can't eat spicy food, so make it light. In this house, even with servants, I've always been the one cooking. It's only because Liu Ruyan is picky and demanding. She won't even eat what a Michelin chef makes, and only what I make is barely edible. But no matter how much effort I put in, Liu Ruyan only eats a few bites casually. Occasionally, Liu Yao will come over to eat, but she always criticizes as she eats. At this moment, I shook my head slightly and said 4 words that surprised everyone. I can't cook. Hearing my refusal, Liu Ruyan subconsciously looked at me. In her memory, I had never disobeyed anyone in their family. This was the first time I had refused. Just as she was about to speak, An Yi's bright eyes suddenly reddened. It's my fault. I shouldn't have moved in. After all, I'm just an outsider, and it's not right for Mr. Xu to cook for me. After saying that, I turned to go upstairs to pack my luggage, but Liu Rian grabbed me from behind. It's none of your business. Then she looked at me, her tone slightly somber. Didn't you say you weren't angry? What do you mean now? I calmly raised my hand, both my index and ring fingers covered in bandages. I'm injured, and I can't get it wet for a while. The atmosphere froze instantly. I used to do all the housework myself, so the maids in the villa would leave on time. Now, besides me, no one else in the house can cook. Even if we wanted to call the maids back, it would be too late. Liu Yao frowned unhappily, her words full of complaints. Why didn't you say you were injured earlier? Did you deliberately want us to go hungry? She was about to step forward to accuse me when An Yi quickly pulled her back. Yao Yao, don't be like that. An Yi looked at Liu Ruyan beside her. Ruyan, since I've been abroad for so long, I've been thinking about that hot pot restaurant near my high school. I remember we used to go out to eat a lot after evening self-study. How about we have hot pot tonight? Liu Ruyan, of course, wouldn't refuse An Yi's request. She said gently, "Okay, I'll take you." She even gave me a ride with her. Along the way, Liu Ruyan drove while chatting with the two people in the back seat, reminiscing about their high school days. An Yi became increasingly animated, and Liu Yao occasionally chimed in. At the most enjoyable parts, all three couldn't help but laugh. Halfway through the laughter, An Yi suddenly seemed to remember something, smiling as he looked at me in the passenger seat. "Mr. Xu, I'm sorry. It's not that we intentionally ignored you. It's just that you weren't involved in that part of my life. But I won't be involved in our future lives either." I hummed in agreement and silently closed my eyes. After parking the car, I excused myself to go to the restroom, splashing cold water on my face. I looked up at myself in the mirror. We were both in our 5th year of marriage. An Yi's eyes were full of vitality, while mine looked utterly exhausted. "Just a little longer, and I'll be completely free," I told myself. Back in the private room, the three of them had already ordered. They wanted a clear broth, and since An Yi didn't eat meat, they wanted plenty of vegetables, except for cilantro. Liu Ruyan looked at the menu while giving instructions to the waiter beside her. Even after all these years, she still remembered An Yi's taste so clearly. "Yunchen, do you have any dietary restrictions?" In 5 years, this was the first time she had asked about my preferences. I sat on the other side, took a tissue, and wiped the bowl and chopsticks in front of me. "Anything is fine, except seafood, this hot pot." Liu Ruyan had been focused solely on An Yi beside her, not eating anything she wasn't supposed to, but constantly putting food on his plate. Halfway through the meal, a dispute broke out at the next table, escalating into a physical fight. Nearby guests rushed to intervene. Unexpectedly, one of the hot-tempered individuals suddenly grabbed a scalding hot pot and threw it at another person. The other person dodged, but the pot missed, landing squarely on our table. Amid screams, Liu Ruyan instinctively shielded An Yi in her arms. I couldn't dodge in time and watched helplessly as a large pot of boiling hot pot broth was poured over me. Instantly, I was covered in the broth, the burning pain feeling like thousands of needles piercing my entire body, leaving me speechless. "Yun Chen!" Liu Ruyan quickly released An Yi and approached me, her eyes showing panic for the first time. "Does it hurt? I'll take you to the hospital." I looked up at her, pain coursing through my body, and I couldn't utter a single word despite my best efforts. "Oh my God, An Yi, how did you get so badly injured?" Upon hearing this, Liu Ruyan's attention immediately shifted to An Yi. She rushed to An Yi in an even more panicked manner, only to see a few drops of hot pot oil on his snow-white arm, making it look truly shocking. An Yi withdrew his arm, his eyes red-rimmed, and shook his head. "I'm fine. Mr. Xu looks more serious. You should take him to the hospital first." "What do you mean not serious? You've been pampered since you were a child. Even a small scratch will make you feel pain for a whole day." "Sister, what are you standing there for? Hurry up and take An Yi to the hospital." Liu Yao stomped her foot anxiously, not forgetting to warn the group. "Are you all crazy? If you want to argue, go outside. You hurt An Yi. My sister won't let you get away with it." Now, An Yi could no longer bear the pain and cried out softly, but still insisted, "It's all right, Ru Yan. You should go see Mr. Xu. He's much more seriously injured." This sight undoubtedly pained him, and he no longer cared about my disheveled state, picking An Yi up and carrying her out. Before leaving, I looked guilty, then seemed to remember something. An Yi has always had sensitive skin and is afraid of pain. "The hospital isn't far from here. You can take a taxi there yourself." Only when their three figures disappeared from my sight did I come to my senses, enduring the pain while gasping for breath. I then shakily walked out to hail a taxi and headed to the hospital. The doctor, holding a cotton swab, flattened the blisters on my wounds while instructing me to apply medicine daily to prevent scarring. I squeezed my eyes shut in pain as two nurses pushed a cart past me. To be honest, Ms. Liu is incredibly kind to Mr. An. Just a few drops of hot pot oil, and she booked an entire floor and arranged for all the dermatology specialists to consult on his case. Yeah, his wound was so small, it would have healed almost by now if he'd come any later. I wish I had a caring woman who loves me. Ha ha ha, don't even think about it. A woman like that is 1 in a million. 1 in a million. I laughed, leaving my seriously injured husband behind, and turned to care for the others with minor injuries. Indeed, 1 in a million. Only after all my wounds were bandaged did I thank the doctor and leave. Just as I stepped out of the hospital, a message popped up on my phone. It was an acceptance letter from the university I applied to abroad, reminding me to prepare a portfolio when I arrived. 5 years later, I picked up my paintbrush again. After buying the brushes and paint, I didn't go back to the Liu family home, but instead went to Lanyue Mountain. The scenery of Lanyue Mountain was beautiful. A lake nestled among the mountains, its water as calm as a mirror, reflecting the surrounding peaks like a natural painting, a truly breathtaking sight. I let out a long sigh of relief. The repression of the past 5 years vanished instantly, leaving only a long lost sense of freedom. Inspiration struck, and as the brush touched the white paper, a beautiful scene quietly appeared on the canvas in the blink of an eye. There was no noise, no dust, only the chirping of birds and the gentle breeze. For 3 whole days, I was immersed in this beautiful scene. It wasn't until I went down the mountain to mail my artwork to the school that I turned on my phone. The moment I turned it on, countless missed calls and text messages popped up, filling the screen, all from Liu Ruyan. This had never happened before. I used to be the only one calling and texting her. She never called me, not even redialing missed calls. Just as I was lost in thought, Liu Yao called. As soon as I answered, a shrill voice came from the other end. "Where have you been all this time? Do you know how frantically my sister has been looking for you? Don't think you can get her attention like this. You're dreaming." The position of the male head of the Liu family can only belong to brother An Yi. After yelling, Liu Yao hung up. I frowned. Had I misheard? Liu Ruyan was frantically looking for me. What did she want? I wanted to ask Liu Yao if she had made a mistake, but the 108 calls on my phone clearly showed how urgently Liu Ruyan was looking for me. With this confusion, I went home. As soon as I got out of the car, the villa's servants greeted me, their faces beaming with relief. Several servants nearly burst into tears. Sir, you're finally back. The house has been in chaos while you were away. Ms. Liu is unhappy with everything we do and has been throwing tantrums for days." Hearing this, I realized she was unaccustomed to not having my care. But she should get used to it. After all, I would soon be gone for good. For the rest of her life, she would have to live without me. I reassured the servants and stepped into the villa. Inside, not even the lights were on. Liu Ruyan sat alone on the sofa. The moonlight streaming in from the window flickered, casting shadows on my handsome features. Hearing footsteps, she finally looked up, staring at me intently for a long time, a hint of displeasure in her voice. "Where have you been these past few days?" I took off my trench coat as I spoke casually. "Going to the mountains to sketch." She frowned. "Why are you suddenly interested in painting?" "It's not sudden. I was originally a top student in the art department. If it weren't for repaying a debt of gratitude, I would have gone abroad to study long ago and become an excellent painter. But I didn't tell Liu Ruyan any of this. I simply picked up my water glass, took a sip, and said casually, I just suddenly felt like painting." Seeing this, Liu Ruyan pressed her temples. "Last time the fire. About the pot, I didn't mean to leave you behind. It's just that An Yi has been spoiled since he was little, afraid of pain. Even a small scrape will bleed for a whole day. I grew up with him, and I'm used to taking care of him, so I took him to the hospital first. Besides, you didn't object at the time, so why did you make a fuss about running away from home? An Yi's house has been renovated, and he's moved out of our place. Don't make a fuss over such trivial things anymore." Her voice trailed off with a hint of reproach, whether for my running away or for my lack of generosity causing her sweetheart to move out of their house early. But I didn't care. I gave a perfunctory reply, put down my water glass, and headed upstairs. Yunchen. I turned around and saw the woman on the sofa stand up. "I'm hungry. Make me a bowl of noodles." I continued, raising my bandaged left hand. "Have you forgotten that my hand is injured too?" Liu Ruyan paused slightly, but I didn't pay attention to her reaction and turned to go upstairs. That day, I had just stepped out of my room when a set of expensive jewelry was placed before me. I looked at Liu Ruyan, somewhat puzzled. Liu Ruyan coughed slightly. "After the hot pot incident, I was busy taking care of An Yi and didn't have time to pay attention to you. This is compensation." I looked at the emerald pinky ring in the box, a complex emotion flashing in my eyes. 5 years, a full 5 years. This was the first time she had given me a gift, but it was to make up for me being so busy taking care of my white moonlight and neglecting her. I suddenly remembered the pile of carefully prepared gifts for An Yi in my study, and a wave of sarcasm welled up inside me, but I quickly suppressed it. Gifts I never dared to hope for before, I don't need now. Seeing that I hesitated to take it, she didn't think much of it, assuming I just didn't like it. I've been busy with An Yi's affairs lately, so I had my assistant pick out the most expensive one at the auction. "If you don't like it." Liu Ruyan hadn't finished speaking when Liu Yao's voice came from outside the door. "Brother An Yi, I've already told you, my sister likes you so much. Shouldn't you have moved out? Even if you moved out, you should at least come visit my sister more often." As she spoke, she pulled An Yi inside. Upon seeing the ring on his hand, she exclaimed in surprise, "Oh my God, brother. Brother An Yi just mentioned to me that he really likes this pinky ring. I didn't expect you to actually buy it." After saying that, she looked at An Yi beside her, her eyes full of envy. Upon hearing this, An Yi's face instantly turned red, and he shyly lowered his head. Seeing the hesitation in Liu Ruyan's eyes, I didn't think twice and directly took the jewelry from her hand and handed it to An Yi. Since it's for you, then accept it. With one sentence, I made a choice for Liu Ruyan and resolved her dilemma. For the first time, Liu Ruyan's gaze didn't fall on An Yi, but instead couldn't help looking at me. For some reason, seeing the man's generous demeanor, Liu Ruyan felt a little uneasy for the first time, sensing that he was different from before, but she couldn't quite put her finger on it. A week later, the day the divorce cooling off period ended, I was finally free to leave. I started packing my luggage. Halfway through, Liu Ruyan sent her assistant with a haute couture dress, asking me to attend a banquet at the old mansion. Looking at the dress, I suddenly found it somewhat amusing. Legally, our legal relationship has been dissolved, yet Liu Ruyan is completely unaware, still expecting me to attend as her son-in-law. I wanted to refuse, but thinking of the care Liu's mother had given me over the years, and also needing to retrieve some travel documents from her, I changed into the dress and went to the banquet. The bustling banquet hall was brightly lit, filled with the clinking of glasses and the aroma of wine wafting from the clinking glasses, spreading among the noisy crowd. In the center of the crowd, An Yi was being fawned over by a group of brothers. An Yi, there's probably no one in this world who loves you more than President Liu. When he found out you had a whirlwind marriage with someone else, he was devastated. Later, when he learned you were unhappy abroad, he flew over every week to secretly see you, buying you gifts to cheer you up. Now that you're divorced, I don't think he really loves his current husband that much. You two should just get together. Yes, 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 get together, get together. Amidst the cheers, I stood in a corner, quietly watching the scene, listening to others cheering and recounting how much their wives had loved someone else, Yunchen. A voice suddenly rang out from behind, pulling me back to reality. I turned around and looked at the person who had come in. I wanted to call her Mom, but then I remembered something and changed my mind, respectfully calling her Auntie. Hearing this address, Liu's mother sighed but said nothing. She simply handed me all the documents I needed for going abroad. Yunchen, I've arranged everything for you. School starts early there, so I've also bought your plane ticket. It's taking off in 3 hours. Is there anything else I can help you with? I looked at the documents in my hand. I felt a huge weight lifted from my shoulders as I put the documents in my bag. The thought of the long-awaited freedom and a new life ahead made my hands tremble. I took a deep breath, suppressing my excitement, and put the documents in my bag, shaking my head. Thank you so much, Auntie. I'm already very grateful for your help. I paused, then remembered something and said softly, I have only one small request. If Liu Ruyan finds out everything and asks about my whereabouts, please say you don't know. Liu Ruyan and I should never see each other again in this life. Hearing this, Liu's mother looked at me in surprise. Didn't you tell her you were leaving? What's the point of telling her? Her white moonlight has returned. Even if I leave, I probably won't care, I smiled. There's no need. I just want to leave as soon as possible and avoid further trouble. Leave what? A woman's voice suddenly rang out from behind us. I turned around and met Liu Ruyan's deep eyes. My heart skipped a beat. I opened my mouth, wanting to explain something, but I wasn't sure if she had heard me or how much she had heard. Fortunately, Mrs. Liu quickly smoothed things over. It's nothing. Why did you come over? Liu Ruyan didn't ask any further questions, only glancing at the cake on the table. Mom, it's your turn to cut the cake. Mrs. Liu rubbed her head. I declined. I'm not feeling well. You can cut the cake yourself. After saying that, she didn't look at them again and had the maid help her upstairs. After watching Mrs. Liu go upstairs, Liu Ruyan held out her hand to me. Come on, go cut the cake. I shook my head, raising my injured hand. No, the injury hasn't healed yet. You should go find An Yi. A hint of surprise flashed in her eyes, as if she didn't understand why I said that, as if something had broken free of her control. Why should I go to him? This time, I'm the one who's confused. Why? Isn't it always him who leaves to go to An Yi? In these 5 years, he stood up for An Yi countless times. Now that I'm giving him a chance, he looks incredulous. What's going on? I smiled slightly. Because you two are close. It's just cutting a cake, nothing more. Seeing my smiling face, she didn't seem angry at all. Although she was still surprised, she didn't say anything more. She walked straight to An Yi, leaned down, and whispered a few words in his ear. An Yi blushed, but still nodded, took her hand, and went up to the stage. They held hands and cut the cake together. Amidst the melodious piano music, the two of them, so close together, looked more like they were cutting a wedding cake than a birthday cake. Halfway through the banquet, some of the older guests left early due to health reasons, leaving behind only the younger generation. These younger people had grown up with Liu Ruyan and the others and knew everything about her and An Yi's relationship. Seeing them like this, applause erupted instantly, with some even clapping and cheering. Kiss, kiss, kiss. This made An Yi's face flush even more, and Liu Ruyan's earlobes also turned slightly red. She didn't kiss An Yi, but she didn't stop the cheering either. I didn't care, took out my phone, and silently calculated my departure time. If my flight was in 3 hours, I had to leave now. But this silent demeanor in everyone's eyes appeared as sadness. Soon, a group of socialites and young masters, led by Liu Yao, walked towards me with sneers. When I looked up again, I was already surrounded by a crowd. Liu Yao looked at me with a beaming smile. Xu Yunchen, so what if you've been married to my sister for so many years? You can only stand here forlornly, watching my sister and An Yi being affectionate. I needed to hurry back to pack my luggage and didn't want to pay attention to these people, so I turned to leave. Who knew this group would become even more outrageous? The ugly duckling dreaming of becoming a swan? What a load of nonsense. If An Yi hadn't gone abroad, do you think someone like you could have become the son-in-law of the Liu family? Don't you know who you are? They said, shoving me. Are you mute? We're talking to you. Don't you hear us? Seeing my silence, one of the hot-tempered individuals finally lost his temper and shoved me violently backward. I crashed heavily into the towering champagne tower behind me, the glasses shattering into pieces, the white liquor mixed with red blood, a horrifying sight. Instantly, all eyes turned to me. Liu Rayon on stage, seeing this, her pupils contracted sharply. She quickly released An Yu's hand and rushed over. Seeing me lying on the ground, covered in blood, her eyes filled with rage. She immediately knelt down and helped me up. While ordering a private doctor to be summoned, she looked up and coldly asked those around her, who did this? Everyone was too frightened to speak. Her face was extremely grim. Just as she was about to speak, a bodyguard suddenly rushed over. Ms. Liu, Mr. An suddenly said his stomach is in a lot of pain. You should go and see him right away. Liu Ruyan didn't let go of me, only slightly frowning. Is it serious? The bodyguard's eyes were anxious. Mr. An is writhing in pain. This time, it was Liu Ruyan who hesitated. She looked at me, a hint of hesitation flashing across her face. Yunchen. I understood what she was going to say, struggling to sit up from her arms, my expression calm. Yes, I know. He's been spoiled since childhood. Even a small injury makes him miserable for a whole day, and you're used to taking care of him. She hadn't expected me to interrupt her. Her thin lips moved slightly, but she couldn't utter a single word. I, however, had already staggered to my feet. It's all right. You go and be with him. The doctor should see him first. I can handle it myself. Looking at my nonchalant attitude, Liu Ruyan felt a strange sense of panic. She was about to speak again when An Yi's painful cries suddenly came from nearby. Finally, she stopped hesitating and looked at me guiltily, saying, Yun Chen, I'll come see you again later. I'll make it up to you. Without another word, she left me and hurried away.